kids.
You're part of the 12 nations. I mean, what's your father?
Black.
Black.
Exactly.
Name is Sean.
Trying the 12 nations.
I've known her dad since the day he was born.
Yeah.
I can remember dancing around, singing his name, and he's just in the center, just looking at it.
Yeah.
Shit. What's happening, guys? We getting ready to do our show. 2OG Smoking Weed. Gonna let Mr. Goodkiss finish up his roll real quick, and we'll be on. So what's happening with you guys today? My groups over there. Let me share my groups real quick while he rolls that up, just so that my groups can know that I'm here. Because they'll go, hey, you didn't share.
Should have got my little container, my little piece, but I don't need it. It's just me smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should talk about that too.
Yeah, you got two rolled up. You smoking all?
People of your generation?
Yeah. They're just gonna stay from black people.
Well, I do see that, a lot of that now too, but I also see the other way, where, you know, there are mixed kids, and they date white people too. And then I see mixed kids that date black people too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it just depends, like, where you grow up and all that kind of stuff, you know. Like, I grew up in Eastern Washington, right? Not in Seattle. And,
Yakima?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
You grew up in Yakima?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? So you know. Where'd you grow up at in Yakima?
In 6th Street.
Oh, okay. I was on 9th and Pacific, right by the fairgrounds. That's where I grew up. Literally on 9th and Pacific. Okay, so you go on 6th Street. That's funny. Who's your family that lives there? Oh wait, oh yeah. What am I talking about? Of course you're from Yakima, Sean. Your dad. Of course you're from Yakima. I'm Yakima. But you was raised here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you was raised here though. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Your dad. That's where we're from. Me and your dad. So yeah, I'm sitting there forgetting. Wait, you're from Yakima? Wait a minute. Yeah, you are from Yakima. Yeah, your family is definitely in Yakima. The Pleasant and all those guys, the Hills, the Browns. You know, they definitely from Yakima. Okay, so we got that. All right, guys. Okay, ready? Just let us know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. Oop, hold up.
Is it warm in here, huh? I got my shirt on too, but shoot.
Oh no, it's nice and warm in here. It's definitely not cold in here, without a doubt. If it was cold, I wouldn't. Definitely not. I'm so freaking skinny. Shit. If it's cold, you gonna know it. What's happening?
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, you guys, and welcome to Wednesday's edition of 2OG Smoking Weed, Coffee, and Blunt Session. It's your boy Bud Margins.
Mr. Good Kush 89. Love smoke, baby.
Okay, you guys, what we wanted to do today was have a discussion on unity, you know, unifying, and why we should start to unify. I was looking at some videos this morning, and one thing that I noticed was that there's this huge debate between black Republicans and why they're Republicans, and black Democrats and why they're Democrats, right? And even though the people that are the black Republicans, they were Democrats until this time of this voting, right? They switched, right? Because of who's running on the Democratic ticket, right? Which I don't blame them, because I don't like them either. So, but it's divided us, right? And the reason why I wanted to talk about unity, because I think it's important that we start to unify. We need unity, you know. We have to stop dividing our votes between Republican and Democrats. I just don't. I mean, they've never served us in any capacity that was fruitful for us as a people, as black people in this country. And it's kind of sad to watch these arguments go on, and they just keep going on and on and on and on about the Democrats and the Republicans. And when I see black people arguing a point for a Republican or a point for a Democrat, it irritates the hell out of me, because none of them are legitimate reasons to. They never said one legitimate thing about why to vote for either one of those parties, right? There's nothing legit. I mean, you never hear people go, well, you should vote for the Democratic Party because they started welfare for black people. You don't ever hear that kind of stuff, right? You don't hear that kind of stuff. But that's what that party did. It put us on a downward spiral by getting us involved in all those crazy ass social programs, and took us out of the Republican Party, which was the economic party. But the Republicans said we got to get the blacks out of our party because of their ability to grow economically. We won't have control over them then, so we need to make sure that we get them stuck. And so what they do is they come through with the Kennedys, and they switch all the black people from Republicans to Democrats because of these socialist parties. And then you got to remember too that at the same time they was fighting the Black Panthers and shit for trying to do the same thing that the Democrats was doing, right? But they didn't want the black people, who they, by the way, got the idea from was the Black Panthers. But the idea that they were out there doing it in the black community, they didn't like that, right? And so they made the Black Panthers into a bad political party, which they weren't, and took them out, and just was they're just they put us in a rat trap, so that's why I think that we need to unify and all that kind of stuff. We need to make sure that we start coming together, right? I mean, we need to all start coming together and stop this craziness.
One of the ways we're going to unify, and this kind of ties into what we were talking about yesterday with teaching our youth. Okay, one of the ways that we're going to unify is to, especially in our community, preach family. Family, you know what I mean? Family creates unity. If you have a bunch of people out there, a bunch of babies, moms rolling around, a bunch of baby daddies rolling around, but no fathers in the house, no actual families together, you know what I'm saying? That in itself, and that's one of the reasons why this system has targeted breaking up African American families, or just families in general, you know what I'm saying, in the African American community, because it creates unity. Think about it, when you have a family or you're in the house and it's you, your girl or your wife and your child or your children, you're less apt to be out doing dumb stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're really trying to make things happen. For the most part, it just switches your whole mentality, your whole perspective. That's why they say, oh, you have a family or you're married, you're settled. You see what I'm saying? People say settled because, when you're settled, your mindset is different. Your thought process is different. You know what I'm saying? You're more apt to be about community and unity because you have a family, you have young ones you want to protect, that you're in the household with. And then that family, that creates unity in that family. In that family, that's a unit. You know what I mean? That's what you guys are. You're a unit. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be stepchildren or whatever, when you guys become a family, you're a unit. And so you're more apt to gravitate towards situations, or let's say parties or nationalities that create unity. You know what I'm saying? You're more apt to, usually married couples like to be around, married friends, other married couples. You see what I'm saying? So it creates a sense of, and that's where it starts in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Where our unity starts is within the family, within the household, within the black community. Yeah. And that's where we got to get back to.
Yeah, because I grew up with my cousins, but my kids didn't, and they live around here. But it was like almost pulling teeth to get my cousin's kids together with my kids,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I just think that
Creates a level of responsibility. And so, you know, then that translates over into politics. Because once you have community and once you have unity, then next thing you know, you have economic growth. You know what I mean? That transfers over. I mean, a lot of times, you know, you can look at just a small segment. We can talk about church, but even look at the church. When you get people constantly coming to the church, right? What happens? People are putting offering in. That's, you know, a small unimetric unit, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, it is a small group or community or unit, you know what I'm saying? A community. Because when you're in church, that is a small community. When you see the same people that you fellowship with every Sunday or every whatever Friday, and then you guys are going to lunch afterwards, and then maybe a special meeting going on with the church where you have other churches that are there. You know, I don't know, they call them revivals, and all these. You know, they got confiscations and all kind of other stuff they call it. You know, but it what does it do? It creates unity. It's bringing people together, and bringing people together. They're actually circulating a dollar amongst themselves to help something in the community grow. Because I'm not, you know, even though
and pass the word,
right, even though I don't believe what the church is teaching as far as like spirituality, as far as like growth, and as far as the people and stuff like that, because you know I believe differently as far as like what the church, but I do like the aspect of it bringing, you know,
people together.
That's the one thing I do like.
With the same ideals. I mean, people that go to church basically believe the same. They have the same beliefs, right? And when you have the same belief system, it's easier to communicate and it's easier to do things with. So one thing that black people had in common was that they all basically went to church at some point.
But
right?
do I want a pastor speaking on my behalf on the media or on politics? Hell to the no. You know what I'm saying? No, just because he's a pastor doesn't mean
that's why we're in the situation we in.
Yeah. He's got some say over the community. They, you know, a lot of the white leaders do that. They'll go and get a pastor or something and have the pastor speak, and that is so far from. We don't want no pastor.
Because when you see a white pastor speaking for the
white community, never happens.
Never ever.
So
happens.
you know, we want our real politicians, our real people that are about change, our real attorneys and stuff, and people that come from our community, that come from us, that are among us. You know what I'm saying? That are actually concerned and working for us, not against us, or not, you know, having a little puppet or a little mouse in their ear over here saying you got to say this, and do it this way, and do it that way, so it benefits somebody else. Something that benefits the African American community solely. You know, but that, you know, is going to create, like we were talking about earlier, Bud, you were talking about, we create our own party. You know, I said something about the Black app where you know about all the black businesses, black grocery stores, black, you know what I'm saying, gas stations, anything black, the Black app will tell you. You know what I'm saying? If you just want to be on there and socialize with black folks, the Black app. You know what I'm saying? Right. If you're another race and you want to get in, you want to socialize with black people, there's nothing wrong with you downloading the Black app and enjoying the Black app, but it also, when we said it'll create our own party. We don't have to worry about Republicans and Democrats. We could have, it could be the Black party. If that sounds too, you know, for you, you know what I'm saying?
Then it ain't the party for you.
Yeah, it ain't the party for you. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know,
the Republican Party sounds white. The Democratic Party sounds something that wasn't made. None of that stuff was made up by black folks. No. We didn't have no input on. Okay, yeah, create a Republican Party and the Democratic Party,
and then the Democrat Party is what. We fighting for a party. When black people fight for the Democrat, you got to remember they fought to keep us enslaved.
That's a lot of people, and that's the miseducation of a black man. You know what I'm saying? Of black people. You know, people don't study and go precept upon precept. They think Democrat, oh yeah, that's for, you know, they're for, you know, minorities and woo woo wah. You gotta study. You know, so I had my father, you know what I'm saying, trying to get on me yesterday. He was like, you just gotta vote. Doesn't matter, you just vote. What does that mean? I was like, see, that's the definition of an enslaved mind. You know what I mean? To actually think in this system that your vote is going to change this system.
And if
let's be real,
if it would have
done it already.
And every black person in America would vote if it really
because we would know, you know, man, that in itself, you know, black folks know. When you're in the community, you're amongst black, you're just amongst people know.
People know.
Is there really something going on that's killing all of us? You'll know. You will know. You can't hide nothing from us. You'll know. We're just, man, we're that type of people. Like, we know there's some shenanigans going on right now when it comes to COVID. You'll know.
That's why we need our own party, people. That's why we need to stop all this craziness and unite and create our own party, because then we have the power, though. We have the absolute power if we are all in one party. You know what I'm saying? Because right now they got us split in two different ships, and both ships, we the slaves on them ships. You know?
Exactly. It doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat.
We
You're
the
still a
slaves on them
slave.
ships that they want us. That's why they want us on them. And then when we get on them ships, they mistreat us. They don't want us to vote. They don't want to treat us the same way they treat each other. They want to feed us the slop. They want to do all this craziness, right? So the thing of it is why in today's day and age, why in the hell are we still begging for their scraps? Why
Still,
are we
you know what I'm saying?
still begging
Gotta
for
create
equal
our own
treatment
lane.
when we can create our own lane? You know, if you get there's 47 million black people in this country. If you get 46 million of us in one party, we are powerful because we're gonna vote. You know, when you got 46 million, we're gonna vote, especially when we know we have that kind of power. Every black, and they'll be trying to figure out a way to suppress them black votes when they all go into one party like that, and there ain't nothing they can do about that, right? But they'll be, man, and they'll be talking shit. The Black Power party is nothing but, you know, that's how they do ya. That's how they do you. But we have to control those narratives, and we have to push for what we all know is right and how the world works. If you don't have that power, then you ain't got shit.
And see, there's nothing, we don't, you know, this is not a show, like, we're not against any other race. I'm not against the NBA or against the NFL or against the Major League Baseball.
Or against white people.
Or against white people. We're not.
We're just pro-black.
We're just pro-black. All it is, we want true equality is allowing us to have our own lane and run just the same way you run.
That's it.
Now, in your system, there's not true equality. There's not. I mean, any way you cut it, slice it, dice it, it's not. No matter what you do, there's not. There has to be a system in place for us, by us, you know what I'm saying, for true equality, where we are self-governed by our own people. You know what I'm saying? We don't need other races of people. I can't tell a Filipino what Filipino is supposed to be like. You know what I'm saying? How can a white person tell a black person what black is supposed to be like and supposed to feel like? You cannot. So, you know what I'm saying? True equality is allowing us to have our own economic lane, our own structure, shipping yards, railroads, you know what I'm saying? Banks, lending system, farms, you know what I'm saying? Grocery stores, schools, you know what I mean? And if other races want to come and be involved, you know what I'm saying? On our terms, in our system, cool. That's all we're saying.
Black power, baby, that's all. You know, and you know, people don't like the Black Lives Movement. Okay, then we just call it the Black Power Movement. They ain't gonna like that either, but who cares, right?
I mean,
you know,
you got people running around here, white power all the time. It's accepted.
Well, I mean, you know, we are in the United States of America.
You know,
of the KKK.
They still get to keep up a Confederate flag. They still get to, you know what I mean? Come on, man. So there's nothing wrong.
Still
you know,
get to remind us of
don't let nobody
in charge.
Yeah, don't let nobody demonize you for being proud of who you are and where you come from.
And that we want to unite.
There's nothing wrong with that. Don't let nobody demonize you and make you feel like, you know what I'm saying, like you wrong for that. Or like you're a race. A black person cannot be a racist, okay? No. And so don't let nobody make you feel like that.
Yeah, just because you want better for your us as a people, you know. Just because you want to wake up every day not having to worry about all the stressful shit that we as black people have to deal with, you know. I read this thing also on Facebook, and it was about this police officer. He said, I pulled over a black teenager today. He was 17 years old. He goes, because of whatever it was. He goes, and as I approached the car, he said, I could see the terror on his face. He goes, and the kid had his card out in both hands out the window, saying, do you need me to step out the car? Here's my insurance. He was terrified, right? But the thrust of the story was the police officer, he said that that's not, he didn't give the kid a ticket. He just told him, just take care of it, but what he said that's not what he did that job for. He didn't do that job so that when a black kid sees him, he's terrified. Because he wasn't going to do anything to the black kid. He was just going to let the black kid know he needed to get his light fixed or whatever it was that wasn't working right? So he was just happened to be a cop doing his job, right? But not harassing, but just, but the terrified look on the kid's face told him that they weren't doing a good job as police officers, right? But the thing of it is that we as black people, if we really unify and create our own political parties and all that kind of stuff, then we have the power to stop that stuff. Because when you have your own political power, you push legislation, you can pass legislation. You have that people in the House of Representatives and in the Senate and stuff like that, and in the Congress to get those laws passed. You create a system that get people like Mitch McConnell the fuck out of office so that they stop being people who just block everything that's good, right? Because unless we as black people unify and get people like that out of office, then because those are the type of people that create this divisiveness in our country, right? People can blame Donald Trump all you want. This shit was here long before Donald Trump. You gotta remember, McConnell, Biden, all them cats, they've been at this a long time creating this divisiveness, right? A long time, right? And so for me, I just think that the answer is in uniting. Group economics for black people, that's uniting, but just politically, economically, those are the strengths, which lead to education and better just everything, right? So if we just would unite and create these avenues for ourselves, it would totally change the way we as black people not only perceive ourselves, but how other races perceive us. Because really, they trying to be like us, right? That's why they try to steal our music. That's why they steal our clothes, the way we walk, the way we talk.
Everything we do, whatever we make cool, whatever it is we make, you know what I'm saying? They take it, they own it, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, and then they start making money off of you with it.
Yeah, and then act like, because if you want to get paid, that you crazy. Nah, man, what? You didn't do nothing. We doing the work, but what? We created this shit, And so we have to stop all that, right? We have to stop all that and unify and, just think about this. If 46 million, there's 47, I know, but you're going to have a million coons, but 46 million people supporting black artists. Well, what that's going to do? What? That's going to create another 100 million people supporting them black artists too, right?
Because they're gonna follow.
Right, they're gonna follow. You're gonna get the whites, you're gonna get the Mexicans, you're gonna get the Asians.
And that's okay.
Asians, shit. They want everything black except being black.
And you know what? And I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to go, the Bible speaks on that, you know what I'm saying? Because it talks about the tribe of Judah being the lead tribe of all the nations, right? It just is. And that's the tribe of Judah is actually the tribe that was in captivity over here in America and enslaved. This is Judah, that's Roman. All of Judah inhabited all of Western Africa after the Holy Wars in Jerusalem. And so over here in America, when Christopher Columbus got the slaves, he got tribe of Judah. All of Judah. This is a historical fact. You can look it up, slice it, dice it the way, in any type of way you want it. You know what I'm saying? That is history and that is a fact. So, that's why the world follows what Judah does. Judah is the creative, innovative, you know what I'm saying? Motivative. I mean, Judah.
For real, I want to shout out real quick the Elements Media Network.
Shout out to Elements Media TV. Love Smoke, baby.
Shout out to Rainier Avenue Radio.
Shout out, Rainier.
Shout out 2OGs Smoking Weed, baby. My guy, Mr. Good Kiss 89 in the house.
Love Smoke. Bud Margins, baby.
And our producer, Mariah Hill.
Mariah, Love Smoke.
So on our next segment, we will continue this conversation on unity in the African American community.
You have time left.
Okay, we're back.
That's for the editor. You know, this show's
Right.
going to be edited on multimedia TV. So
we're going to give you guys a heads up. We smoking some good ass weed right now, right?
Hell yeah.
So if you guys want, oh my goodness, on the second half of this show, you guys, we're going to bring out Lulu, and we're going to let you guys see what Lulu looks like now. And you guys can look at her and see how much she has shrunk. And then I will cut her down, and then tomorrow we'll weigh her all at the same time so that you guys can see her. That'll be part of our show.
Yeah.
So I'll bring Lulu into here, you know, and then also, if you guys are living in Seattle and you're voting, vote for Chakundi Salisbury for 37th District State Representative number 2 Democrat. True representation of the community. He's lived there his whole entire life. Okay? Chakundi Salisbury, y'all.
Chakundi.
Good day, y'all. We're gonna get Lulu real fast. Lulu. I forgot about Lulu. I meant to bring her in here for the second half too. The rain is way off.
Stay tuned for the second part of our show. You know? Shit, I'm hot. It's the only time I smoke this much on the show.
There's some comments on here.
Oh yeah, at any time in those comments, you can like read them off to us, say by who, and then, you know, if we want to interject on it, we will. We can expound.
Nico Rainwater. We can do that now, but we have to unite. That's what's missing, unity and trust.
Yeah, trust is a big key, and and the reason why, you know, on the trust thing is because they through programming, through TV, through music, they create division. You know what I'm saying? Amongst us, they try to create, you know, that mistrust.
Oh, she said a lot. Aaron Bassett. It was earlier. So who is we? I make choices based on politics. Republicans have never ever passed any legislation in our favor. The GOP is literally trying to put us in slavery. Black folks who call for the rhetoric of GOP is troubling and concerning. I get Dems ain't best, but GOP has never passed one piece of legislation in our favor. None of the fools are politically activated. If you ain't in the actual halls of policymakers, then it's all a distraction. They have no clue how politics works. Family is destroyed by GOP policy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bam.
Yeah, I mean,
might as well start the show on that. See,
Yeah.
so if you can read some of that to us, then we can respond to it.
yeah, we just talked about that. That'd be dope if sometimes she could read it. So that's it.
Ready?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, you guys? So, we're talking about unity, right? And we're talking about how African Americans, you know, the ability to unify or not unify, has, I don't know, put us in this situation. But the fact of us being able to now use these phones and things like that to unify. It's changing the tide for us, and so we're able to reach out to one another and things like that. Let's read some of those questions so we can kind of
Or comments.
those comments. Yeah, let's some of those comments.
Nico Rainwater, we can do that now, but we have to unite. That's what's missing, unity and trust.
Yeah.
But I don't think you said lack of what?
Unity and trust.
Yeah, we're missing unity and
Unity and
trust.
trust. So he capitalized.
Well, okay. I believe we're missing unity, but we're getting together on that. But trust, I don't think. I think we do trust each other. I think that is such a misused statement in the black community about trust. I wish people would stop using that. That is that narrative.
That's that control narrative
shit.
that I said. That's that programming from TV. That's not true.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
True.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Every person in this room right now is black, and I trust them. So I don't get it. I got a friend. I got white friends, and I don't trust them.
Yeah. I think black people out in the community, especially like, let's say like you're at a shopping mall or center, like where there's a dollar store and there's a Safeway and there's some other stores involved and there's just a mixture of people in there. Now I guarantee you, if something was to be happening to go down, it's just a known like thing. There's just a attraction, a magnetic thing where black people look at black people and go, come on, we you know what I'm saying, we together, let's get, you might not even know him. That might be a black tweaker over there, or a black guy who's strung out homeless, or whatever the case may be. Or it might be a black worker in the store, you know what I'm saying, or a black worker, in a restaurant around there, whatever the case may be. If all them black folks came out and all the nationalities came out, something was going on, and it had to become to that all black people it's like a magnetic, it's like a telepathic wave or something. We all know, look, all right, I got you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got you. Like.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's, listen, did you see all those black men with those guns that went out there? That's unifying. They came together to support the death of George Floyd and that cop being arrested, and they knew that they had to come with guns, right? And if you look at that alone, that tells you, just with a few hundred black men and guns like that, that how much power that they understand that we have, and they ain't gonna fuck with you. It's different if you equal the playing field, because if the playing field is equal, black people are going to excel beyond belief. So they do everything to make sure that that the playing field is never equal.
We're always jumping hurdles in every field,
and it's
in every form of life in this system that we are set forth in. We're always jumping hurdles. We always have to go. You know what I'm saying? We always have an obstacle course.
And that's why they don't want us to unify. That's why they don't want us to come together. Because if we come together and remove all those obstacles that are in our way every single day that we wake up, if those obstacles are removed, then we as a people, then there are no more excuses, right? Then there are no more excuses for white people to use. Because we won't use them as excuses.
Well, let's check this in school. I'll say this, like, I'll use another analogy. Like in school, think about it. If you go to just a open school, not necessarily a black school or a white school, like say you go to, like I went to Chisel. Okay, so say you go to a school like that, and I went back in the 80s, right, the late 80s. Now, there's Asians, there's whites, there's, everybody converses with everybody. Everybody mixes in because everybody was dating everybody. But guess what? Even amongst all those groups, there was still that black group that found that didn't know each other, but found and created a community, created a pocket. Yeah. That's at Franklin. That's at Garfield. That's at Roosevelt. That's at Ingram. That's in the world. That's in, like I was talking about, in the community.
Black people congregate. You go into black communities now,
Because there's trust.
Yeah, because there's trust. They come together and they congregate.
We understand. You
Right.
know what it's like to be black. I know what it's like to be black.
There
That's
you
an
go.
understanding right there in itself.
And and we get harassed for congregating because there's that unwritten rule to police. If you see groups of black people, go bring them up. Why? Because they trust each other and they're congregating. They could be talking about something that could make a difference in the world. They don't know what these people are talking about. They just don't want us coming together. And we all know it was illegal for slaves to come together in groups, right? We all know that if they got slaves together in groups, man, hell there was whoopings and beatings and all that, and that ain't changed.
Go
right?
precept upon precept upon precept upon precept. I said 4 precepts. Do that. And come see what you find out why that was. Why they did that. Why they beat
Didn't
slaves
want us to
and didn't
unify.
want slaves to unify. Go precept upon precept upon precept upon precept.
400 years of
Do the
trying
research.
to keep us
Because
separated.
it's there.
It is. 400 years.
There's a
of
reason
trying
behind
to keep
that.
us from coming together. It ain't stopped now. That's why they put them coons in there to infiltrate our systems more like the Black Panthers and groups like that. That's why they put them coons in there. And them coons go in there and do that job. They go in there and do their job against their own people, right? Again, I said job, right? And those are the things that stop us from being able to unify, right? And we have to be able to, not worry about those people if they, and just keep it moving, right? Because we have that right. And with these things that we are using today, Facebook and these telephones and all that kind of stuff, we can do that, right? We can unify because we do trust each other and we can control that narrative. Just like right now, when he said that, we're controlling that narrative, right? Because that narrative ain't true. We're telling everybody that that's not true.
Right.
We gave you plenty of examples of black people getting together, right? And I'm not saying that everybody gets along because you can get groups of white folks together. And believe me, I grew up in a town called Yakima, Washington, white town. I seen groups of white boys growing up beating the fuck out of each other. Okay? So I don't want to hear that. Well, black people do that. Man, white folks do the same goddamn shit. I've seen it. Right? I've seen it. So again, it's all about, controlling our own narrative and not letting the mainstream media control what is said about us anymore. That's done, right? They can't tell us that we don't trust each other. They've said that black people don't trust each other so much, we got black people saying black people don't trust each other. That's a goddamn crying shame. That is a motherfucking crying shame that you can even say black people, as a black person, don't trust each other. You, as an individual black man, may not trust other black people. That's on you. That is your problem. Like I said yesterday, remember? I had to freaking check myself on being afraid of young black men about 10, 15 years ago. I had to check myself on that shit. Because I let the mainstream media control what the fuck I was thinking about young black men, right? And Joe Biden was part of that shit because the media went crazy in the 80s just trying to depict every black man as a fucking criminal. Had a brother walking across the street when I seen a group of black kids, serious, right? I had to check myself on that shit.
I ain't gonna lie, growing up here in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, where I really, I guess, knew that we were different and that I was different, and I think sports taught me that here.
Well, he was also taller than everyone.
But regardless of that, I think sports taught me that when, I was on the local community team, which was in my community growing up in the South End, which was a black team. Basically it was a black team. My coach was
which don't exist anymore.
Yeah, basically it was Metcalf. The famous football player Eric Metcalf. My coach was Tim Metcalf. Eric's his brother.
Okay.
So Eric's uncle. And we used to play these teams from like, way out, you know what I mean? From like, where it was like basically black against white, and where I saw it, where I knew, like was in the officiating. Like we knew basketball, everybody, we know basketball, but why would these kids be allowed to do so much more on the court than we were allowed to do? I could see it in the way, like the way fouls were called, the way, and I'd just be like, because then you go and play, it's it was still always different. And then when I got to high school, of course, or playing on that level, you go and play somewhere like one of the teams on the east side. The officiating was different. The calls were different. There was such a discrepancy all the time. You know what I mean? Like, so that's where through sports is how really my eyes opened up. And then when I graduated from high school and when I went to University of North Carolina, Charlotte, I took African American Studies as an elective because I just started wanting to know. And then I started wanting to know, scripturally, what the correlation was to black people as far as like the scriptures and were we in there? And
And
I
what's
started
funny?
putting it all
He
together.
grew up in church.
Yeah, and I started putting, because church most of the time.
And if the church don't teach you, like, the church don't teach you the truth about stuff. They just
They don't teach you nationality, that's
No,
for sure.
Because I remember I said something about Jesus being black, and man, my grandma, my mom, they about freaked out on me, And I was like, well, how can it be white though when everybody's black where it comes from, right? And it was just this, because they grew up with this white Jesus hanging on the wall, right?
Yeah.
But you know what that does, right? That creates divisiveness. That creates where you don't believe you believe that the white man is actually God. I mean, that's what my parents believed. My grandparents believed that Jesus was really this white dude with blue eyes and long blonde hair and shit. Like, freaking ridiculous.
I just say get access to the 1611 King James Version.
I just think
Start with that.
Well, I just think black people, what they got to do really is, economically and politically come together. Let the scriptures go, because the scriptures for the last, 400 years have done us no good when it comes to, growth in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it doesn't matter what party it is. Neither party has ever done anything that is going to be beneficial to us as a race as a whole.
Yeah.
The fact that we switched from the economic party to the social party that puts the foot on your head to make sure you really can't come up and keeps you in poverty, that really tells you that was a sham, right? That was a sham move, right? To have people come to your house where you can't even really vote, and tell you, we're gonna let you vote,
Right.
but we want you to vote Democrat.
Yeah.
Because we're the party that's out here trying to get you to vote, when really they were the party that's trying to get you under their control so they can put their foot on your head so you didn't think about economics all the time. You couldn't, because they didn't give you the ability to think about economics, other than I can't pay my bills.
Who was where did that lady
Right.
had said something on there? You said
Right.
Find out what
The
she
long
said.
one?
Yeah,
So
the long one, I think.
I just,
Yeah.
Who's that?
Bosit,
oh yeah,
Bosit.
what she said?
Who is we? I make choices based on politics. Republicans have never ever passed any legislation in our favor. The GOP is literally trying to put us in slavery. Black folks who call for the rhetoric of GOP is troubling and concerning. I get Dems ain't best, but GOPs has never passed one piece of legislation in our favor. None of the foes are politically activated. If you ain't in the actual halls of policymakers, then it's all a distraction. They have no clue how politics works. Family destroyed by GOP policy.
Yeah. Again, you guys, I don't think any party has done shit, and I think that's where, we have to understand that and make that change, right? Because again, there's a black lady running for president right now. You know that? She's independent. But there's a black lady running for president. And I know y'all, as a Democrat, don't want to hear that because we may be taking votes from Kamala and Biden. But I ain't taking shit from nobody. I'm just talking the truth, right? If you change your vote because of something that I said, then you didn't want to vote for them people in the first place, right? So don't put that on me.
I mean, look at the background. Look at the background of Kamala, man. I mean, what's her history? What has she done
to unite us?
To unite black people or for black people? Besides looking, red bone or light skin or whatever you want to call it. I don't, what it is she mixed? Yeah, whatever it is, I don't know. But what has she done? Because she's trying to represent like she's in there for black. Well, what has she done? What's her history?
Because she sure didn't represent that when she was a federal prosecutor. When she was a prosecutor, she sure didn't represent black people as far as, the betterment of black people. So not like she, in fact, she didn't even put herself down as black.
I mean, I'm just saying.
So now, all of a sudden, she putting herself down as black because she needs the black vote. I mean, I'm just saying, that we need to not just wake up to Donald Trump. We need to wake up to both motherfucking parties, right? We need to wake up to both parties, right?
It's at its stories now.
Is that a storage limit?
Yeah.
So, just.
Is that a storage limit?
Yeah, it's cool. We can also send her the video from this right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So, we can just, like I said, I just think we just need to really understand what's happening and really just take a look at what we need to do and start doing it, right? And really start doing it. Because, again, it's right there for us, if we came together and fought as hard to start a party for ourselves as we do and as much energy as we put into fighting about a Democrat or a Republican, man, you know what I'm saying? Because I see a lot of bickering between black folks about Democrat or Republican, which is just, I just think they're the most useless, asinine arguments for black people.
You get a lot of distractions put in your way
Yeah.
to where you can't focus on the truth of things. You can't focus on the depths of things. You only get the surface. So you get a lot of distractions. I mean, like even that right now, as much as I love sports, sports is just put out there to be a distraction. As an athlete, I'm going to compete. I compete in a closed gym. You compete when you're getting ready for the season in closed gyms before you get before the fans and stuff, and it's competitive and all that. But there's nothing like, when there's 30,000, 20,000 people in the stands watching you and that energy. Why do you think they all talk about come together? There's energy when you come together. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's an energy in the gym, but there's a different level of energy when, damn, 20,000 are right there watching. You know what I mean?
But I was going to say, I was telling my wife this other day, that tells you how much money that television brings in. For
Exactly.
The crowd, the stuff that's in the stands, all that's just extra shit that the owners take home. The players are paid by the TV because they getting paid their money if they play. So their contracts is being fulfilled.
Yeah.
And so they're making their money. And then also one thing I like about it too is that on every jersey there is a pro-black saying, which, really when I'm starting to get to know the players by their sayings on the back of their shirts versus what their names are now. So, I mean, oh, that's Black Lives Matter. How many more?
How many points he got tonight?
So I mean,
How many points does Unity have, man? How many rebounds does he have?
Yeah, how many more? How many, how many more? He's got some dig, man. He digging him up. I mean, I'm literally looking at him like that.
Just stop killing us, foul him.
Yeah. So I mean, it's working. I guarantee you, if I'm looking at it
Was
like
that a technical or no more? What? Did no more get a technical?
Man, I can't believe comedians haven't jumped all over this shit, really, when you think about it. Because that stuff is hilarious. But, but they're getting the point across because people are reading those back of those jerseys every single night. I don't care what color you are. If you're watching basketball, you're reading the back of those jerseys. And it's getting into your brain. And it's starting to take effect, because, I mean, that's how the human brain works. Once it
Did my child is black make that free throw?
It's like that, you know what I'm saying? Once you get that into your brain, man, it just works. That's why they have that thing where they go, if you say it 3 times, then you remember it. Or if you write it down 3 times, you remember it. Or if you hear somebody say it 3 times, you remember it. That's why they do that in politics, especially on the points they want you to remember. They'll say it over and over again. So it gets in your brain, right? And that's what these sports are doing for people, though, if you ask me. It's making people aware every day because they're reading the back of those jerseys, right? And, millions of people are getting that same mental effect that I get from it, right? So, and that's unifying people. That's what, that is a way of unifying people, bringing awareness to things that, frankly, there are people out here that just are walking around stupid.
Yeah.
They really don't know. They just really don't see because they've never had to experience it, right? That's where I always say where white people who grew up with black people who've kind of been beat down and all that kind of shit, they're the kind of people that really need to start podcasts and talk about, well, look, I grew up poor and I grew up around a bunch of black people and I've been beat down by the police, right? And that shit ain't cool, and they gotta start getting into it, and say, start talking about,
That's 3 seconds. I'll put the bat down.
I didn't.
That's a lane violation. I'll put the bat down.
Yeah, but I was really out there fucking up though,
Yeah.
My buddy now, he got his ass whipped because he walked out to 7-Eleven, I mean, you can tell those stories if you're white and you've been through that. Because white people go through those things and they may get that little beat down, They don't get the jack and they don't get that stuff. But, they do get there, And again, it's going to take everybody to really make this work, Everybody, we're going to have to unify. We're going to need some white folks in here.
Meta World Peace was ahead of his time, huh? But his name, he changed his name from Ron Artest on his jersey to Meta World Peace. Like, he ahead of his time. He did that while he was playing. What? When did he do that? Like 2009 or something like that? I mean, or it's, somewhere, but way before, we started, with what they're doing now. So.
Yeah.
I
He's
think
back to Ron Artest now, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Once he got on that medication and shit, he went right back to Ron Artest. And this dude is bipolar.
I can't keep up. How many names? How many times? He's changed his name like 4 times already. He's only 40 every 10 years.
Well, again, that's really, is like I said, we have all this access and to really unify each other and really help each other and do things to make life better for each other. And it's just time that we start doing it, because the awareness is out there. Because even to me, when you see white folks on Facebook arguing about what they feel is right or whatever for black people, they're aware of what's going on. That's why they're talking about it, right? Mm-hmm. So that means everybody knows what's happening, right? that there you can't sit there and say I didn't know now. You just can't. You just can't. You can't sit there and say I didn't know. So because of that, it makes it easier to really push the system. You know, makes it a lot easier to push the system. And the more we unify and get together, the more we're going to be able to push that. And the sooner we create a political system for ourselves and an economic system for ourselves, which means coming together, the further and further we're going to be able to push those boundaries to the point to where those boundaries are now gone, period. They don't exist in this country any longer, right? That every time you walk up to a real estate agent and you want a house, they show you at the same house as they're going to show a white person. Every time you walk into a bank, they don't look at you and go, your credit score is only 740. Sorry, I can't do anything. You have to have at least a 750, you know. But I will give you a loan with, of course, a higher interest rate, right? All that stuff, you know.
Interest rate to kick your ass.
Right. But that's how they get you, right? They'll give you the loan, but they'll say, oh, your credit ain't, I don't care. They always try to act like your credit ain't never good enough, right? And then so they can try to stick you with that loan that changes on you. It's called an adjustable rate mortgage, right? Changes on you in like 2 years. Next you know, you go from paying, you know, maybe a 4%, 5% interest rate to like an 11% interest rate, you know, where they're just fucking taking you. So, you know, they do that stuff, and it really creates just bad economics for black folks, right? And, you know, in general, I mean, they did that, you know. They did that 10 years ago. They did that 10 years ago, you know. But they're giving black people all those crazy loans. Now, what happened was, in the end, they ended up losing, but that wasn't their main thing was that they were breaking. I mean, a lot of black people were losing their homes because they were getting these adjustable rate mortgages, right, and didn't really understand that, you know, in 2 years, you're about to, you know, go from paying $1,000 to $2,500, you know, and if you couldn't afford that, especially back at that time, you know, it was, you know, lights out for you, right? And so they knew that shit was happening. They just, like I said, they were just taking advantage of people, especially people of color, and, you know, people of color thought the banks and everybody was doing them favors. Oh man, what are you kidding me? They're giving us a loan for this house. I just bought my first house. You know, you know. Then 2 years later, you're moving out the motherfucker because you can't afford the motherfucker anymore, right? Because the interest rate went up. So those are the traps and things like that that we
You gotta get a fixed interest rate.
Yeah. That's why what I'm saying. Well, we have to start taking care of ourselves, right? We have to create a system of economics and a system of political power to move all that shit the fuck out, right? So I mean, you know, but real quick, we're gonna do our Lulu, you know. You wanna see how much time we have left on there? If you put that little live button right there, that live button.
Up and up here.
Yeah.
58.
58 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got probably about 5 minutes left, 4 or 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, you guys to bring out Lulu. So for those of you guys.
Shout out to Elements Media TV. Love smoke to you.
2OG Smoking Weed. So that's Lulu. She is dry. For those of you that had seen Lulu when she was up and running.
Okay, so who all put their guesses? Did you write them all down? You got them all? Play them back?
They're all there. I got them all on my DM, on my
Yeah.
messages. And so now we'll you know, clean her up and then weigh her out and see how much she weighs, and then everybody will see, and then we'll look at you guys' guesses to see who guessed right, if there was a winner, right? But she's looking good. She's all dry. See, these are the outer leaves that you hear crunching, but she's all dry. She's still curing, but she's all dry. She is smokable. I'd wait about another week, but
Yeah.
you know, will take her down and put her in charge. So, just to give you guys a heads up. So, all you guys that have put your votes in or put in your guesses, tomorrow we will, like I said, we'll have her all cut down.